going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and tonight we're going to be talking about something that I promised you guys I would not talk about again until we had new information, but we do. We're going to be talking about the Victis remakes, some juicy surprises with the zombie storyline, and even some other announcements. Definitely stay tuned. But before we jump into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, because about 73% of you that watch my videos aren't subscribed. So make sure you guys are getting notifications every time I update you on Black Ops Cold War. I got a lot of DMs about the topics we're going to go through in tonight's video, so I'm like, why not make a video today? We also have a very special Reddit post from the man himself, Vincent Danger. I'll have his link down below in the description. We're going to be breaking down exactly what he wrote, and you're going to see why in a second. But first and definitely foremost, I'm doing a Battle Pass giveaway for Season 3. As they announced yesterday, they are introducing Battle Pass gifting through the Call of Duty companion app. So, as I mentioned yesterday, go ahead and drop a bomb emoji in the comments if you guys want to be entered in this giveaway. I'll be announcing a winner in this Friday's Bombcast. Hopefully I see you there. Now, we also have the new Samantha Max's bundle live in Black Ops Cold War today. The Death's Viel for 2,000 COD points comes with the Death's Bride skin, a skin for the MAC-10, the RPD, even a skin for the shovel, surprisingly. We have a nailed down finishing move, a charm, vehicle skin, animated calling card, and even a sticker. So let me know in the comments as well, will you be picking up this other Samantha skin? And do you also think that this Bride outfit has any meaning for the DarkAether storyline, or is it just a fun, non-canon skin for a Call of Duty operator? I definitely think cosmetics in Black Ops Cold War and other Call of Duties before as well have teased future content, future storylines, so maybe this is more important than meets the eye right now. We just have no idea. But we also have a very interesting plot point that got revealed through new intel in Black Ops Cold War, confirming that both Thor's hammer and Atlantis are canon. So the intel does confirm that this fantasy was being investigated by the Germans, but Thor's hammer was actually found. Now, what's ironic about that is that in Black Ops 2, in a future mission in 2025, David Mason and his crew do find Thor's hammer. So I'm still curious, right? If Black Ops 2 is canon, does this intel kind of just set that up? Or does this mean something more that we're not going to know until a future DLC map? And we all know Thor's hammer's Easter egg over in Black Ops 2 was phenomenal. You couldn't pick it up. We, of course, aren't worthy, so it wouldn't make sense anyway. But imagine a world where you're able to pick it up in the campaign mission and have an unlimited ammo type of weapon that you can shoot lightning with. That would have been great. Now, we all know Craig Houston loves mythology. That's why the Chaos story existed in Black Ops 4. Chaos, to me, was kind of a story that was out of pure passion for Craig and Jason. You know, a story where they can do things they couldn't do from the Aether storyline. So that's why I respected Chaos so much, but I truly believe both Atlantis and other outlandish locations were going to be Chaos experiences in the future of that story. It would have made perfect sense, but since that story is canceled now, or at least for the time being, will we end up seeing a map like Atlantis in the future? I mean, we did get some hints of it over in the Outbreak main quest, right, with the fact that we sent nukes to the Pacific. I mean, could that have hit somewhere in the ocean that leads to a map where we are underwater with a certain objective? I mean, that would be fantastic to see. We also know that in the Ural Mountains Battle Royale experience, there were underwater locations that would have been featured on that. So that's why I'm still advocating for seeing the Ural Mountains added to Fireteam or added somehow in Black Ops Cold War or Warzone in the future. I mean, maybe seeing underwater locations in the Ural Mountains map could have been a bit of a nod to the community of an Atlantis underwater zombies-like experience, even though it isn't the same thing, but something on that level that hits that vibe, right? And gives the community something that we've been asking for since, what, Black Ops 1? Now, what's actually insane is that as I was making this video, I came across a couple of images on Twitter of the actual underwater caves in the Ural Mountains from Russia. And what do you know? One of the caves is called the Orta Cave. Not sure what that could mean in the long run, but there were definitely plans to have some underwater experience in the Ural Mountains, whether it's for Fireteam, Battle Royale, or even Outbreak. I also have a big 32-minute zombies video I posted a couple of days ago. I have a link down below in the description where we talked about what's going to happen in the second Outbreak Easter egg and even Berlin. There's a lot of intel, storyline, and teasers that Treyarch already revealed and not many people are talking about over on YouTube, so hopefully you guys check that out. Tonight's video is going to talk more about DLC 4 and even beyond that, so a bit of a sequel to that video if I had to say. Now, when it comes to the Reddit post I talked about a few minutes ago, we have one from Vincent Danger on Reddit, and kind of put together all of the evidence with some pretty strong points and some reaches that we're going to break down about how a Zombies Chronicles 2 makes sense in Black Ops Cold War. So there's quite a bit to get through here, definitely bear with me, but I'm going to say it again, I wasn't going to talk about Zombies Chronicles 2 until we had new information, which we do have tonight, because it's a bit of a broken record at this point. People out there claiming that the game won't be good until they see remakes of Tranzit Diaries and Buried. It just blows my mind, because I'm really happy with the new experiences we're getting in multiplayer zombies in Warzone that if remakes happen, they happen. Great, I'll enjoy them, but for now, I'm fine with them introducing new content first, then remakes later. But as he first wrote, in Outbreak, the Dragon side mission, if any zombie goes into the Dragon circle, their eyes become blue, meaning developers had to change the eye models. When it came to this, it would be a waste of resources to change an eye color model for a useless detail. This also affects manglers, so there's some commitment there. And he wrote this as a reach, and I agree with that, because I mean, I'm sure it's not too much work to change the eye color model. Maybe it is. I'm not a developer or an engineer, so I can't speak on that, but it could be something that simple. I don't think it's anything that's like, oh, okay, all right, it's teasing that we're gonna get the Victis maps in Black Ops Cold War with blue eye-colored zombies. I mean, maybe it is, but I do agree with that being a reach. I'm sure you guys do as well. The next thing he wrote is the Tranzit leak, even though it was a little bit discredited, Outbreak matches the original concept idea of Tranzit. So I'm not sure what Tranzit leak he's talking about, unless he's talking about the Black Ops 4 one, which we're gonna talk about later in this video, but I do agree, Outbreak does match the original concept of Tranzit, an open world, or at least a semi-open world zombies experience with different objectives in different areas of the map, and we're gonna go in depth with that later in this video. You can skip to the timestamp if you guys want now, but I would say, yeah, Outbreak being in this game definitely gives me a vibe of Green Run possibly being envisioned the way they wanted to, but on this game's engine, right? He also wrote, faint lava noises can be heard on the machine. This is not audio bug because of how it would have been patched already, so one thing I'll say about that is that's definitely a reach, because there's a lot of sound bites and little audio bites all over zombies from Black Ops 1 to 4, and even now in Black Ops Cold War, that are kind of rehashed versions of each other, you know, audio that's reused from game to game. Even you'll see assets and audio from Modern Warfare games, from Call of Duty Ghosts, Infinite Warfare. You'll see things juggled around as a bit of placeholder content that they just put there to fill areas of the map that are a bit empty. So I think hearing sounds from Black Ops 2 don't really mean much, but you guys can be the judge of that in the comments. He also wrote the Tempest is a DarkAether Avagadro. We can see this from a file name on Cold War, and its heart is identical from the one in Alpha Omega. So this could be a sense of them saying, you know what, we wanted to introduce some new bosses over an Outbreak that aren't in the Machine or Firebase. So what do we use? We use a character that was very slightly used over in Alpha Omega, the Avagadro. He was only featured in the last step of the Easter egg, so why not take him over into Black Ops Cold War and kind of give him a new look and keep the same heart in the center to kind of give us that Avagadro vibe that we had back in the day. So yeah, I mean, we could end up seeing this DarkAether Tempest in future round-based maps in Black Ops Cold War, or he could be hinting that, yeah, we're going to be seeing some Victis remakes where he's featured on at some point in the future too. You never know, but like I said back during Black Ops 4 season, it was a bit ironic that we sent him to the Hanford site at the end of Alpha Omega. We didn't send them to the original Tranzit from Black Ops 2, we sent them to the Hanford site, which is one that we hadn't gone to yet at all, right? The Avagadro in the original Tranzit was just a portion or a piece of the actual Avagadro that we see in Alpha Omega, so that's completely separate. And I was thinking, alright, they're setting up a Tranzit remake in Black Ops 4, we're gonna go back there, but we didn't end up seeing that. So could that be hinting at something we see in Black Ops Cold War? Absolutely. He also said to add on to the Avagadro evidence, I forgot who, but it was said how every new enemy in Outbreak plays a role in the Cold War storyline or is there for reasons now possible. Victis' crew is possibly still alive, being in the DarkAether. There's Nazi still alive from the DarkAether according to intel. Because of this, it's likely that Victis also survived. And yeah, I mean, when it comes to Victis surviving in there, Craig did make it clear at the end of Black Ops 4 season that the arcs of Primus, Ultimus, and Victis are over, and we know that was definitely true for Primus and Ultimus, but when it comes to Victis, could he have just said that to throw us off guard so they can come back as a bit of a shock factor and a surprise in Black Ops Cold War? Because they didn't really get closure at the end of Tag, they got stuck to the DarkAether, but what happens next after that? Are they dead? Did they morph into some creatures? Are they inside of Orda? I mean, lots of questions with that. Could they ever be answered? Maybe not, but I wouldn't mind Craig throwing in, you know, a piece of intel here, a piece of intel there, even a radio that just confirms their death or confirms what happened to them, right? So hopefully we see that, because the fact that Nazis were in there for so many years could mean that Victis could have survived somehow, or maybe are evil at this point, right? We also have a weird bundle that wasn't mentioned in this Reddit post, but I wanted to bring up personally. It's a bundle that popped up, I think it was, what, a couple of weeks ago, and it's called the In the Sticks bundle, and it's a bundle centered all around Naga, not really zombies related, but there is a mysterious bus in the background of this bundle, and Tranzit didn't invent the bus, right? I get it, I'm being sarcastic there, but it is a bit suspicious how in this bundle we do have some random zombies related items which really don't fit with the theme of Naga. We have a Tombstone charm and a Speed Cola sticker, and ironically, where was Tombstone first introduced? Over on Tranzit. And again, I'm not claiming that Tranzit is confirmed because of this bundle. Don't go out and say that DK is confirming a Tranzit remake because of the In the Sticks bundle. I'm just bringing it up in the case you guys missed this, and in the case this means something in the future. Thought it was interesting, but we then got another point here in the post where he said, according to very reliable and credited leaks for Black Ops 4, there was going to be a Chronicles 2, but due to how BO4 was a failure, it was called off for the next Zombies project, which of course this is how most Black Ops 2 maps were in Blackout. And yeah, we did have some very credited leakers in the community that did say there was a year 2 coming to Black Ops 4 at one point, but that got completely scrapped after the budget got cut and after Treyarch replaced Sledgehammer on Call of Duty 2020. So the original plan for Black Ops 4 seemingly looked like the Black Ops Pass would have covered you with 4 Chaos maps, then year 2 would have brought back Aether, Blood of the Dead, Classified, who knows how many other maps after that, but on that list these leakers talked about were Transit, Dire is Buried, Call of the Dead, and Nuketown. So who knows what those plans turned into after the Alpha, Omega, and Tag the Totem releases. Maybe they just said, you know what, we're gonna scrap the Victis maps indefinitely, or they said, hey, we'll save them for Call of Duty 2020 at some point. Maybe that's what happened, but we're gonna talk more about these leaks later in the video, because not only was there evidence from these reliable leakers who had gotten a lot right, but you had people out there who were literally revealing every goddamn detail about Modern Warfare, Warzone, months before the reveal, who also were saying, yes, there were Victis remakes coming to Black Ops 4. That still wasn't enough evidence to some people in the community, and even on top of the fact we had all the assets in multiplayer and Blackout for Black Ops 4, I mean, it was right in our faces, so if you still don't believe in that, I don't know what to tell you. But now when it comes to Outbreak, Buddy also said, on Ruka, if you go near the radar towers, it plays We All Fall Down from Dire Eyes. Some Dire Eyes music can also be heard in some parts of Alpine. I'll play a clip for you guys so you can hear. So we really never had much for Dire Eyes spread across Black Ops 4. I mean, if you say the lion statues, sure, but those have been reused assets since like World at War. They just got retouched every now and again. So Dire Eyes is kind of the map we didn't have much evidence for, but I always said, you know what, a missed opportunity in Blackout was not turning the construction site into Dire Eyes, and then from there being able to port it easily into zombies. That would have worked out. We had so much transit, right? From the diner, the cornfields, the bus. I mean, it's so much. And then we had the entirety of Buried over in Ghost Town. So Dire Eyes is kind of the missing link there in terms of in-game assets and in-game evidence, but the fact that we have music playing in Outbreak, could it just be a callback to fan favorite zombie soundtracks? Absolutely, but I find it very suspicious we have specifically Victis music played in Outbreak right now, and we're gonna build on that in a second. So he then went with a couple of reaches here. We have Black Ops 2 guns returning on top of random remasters of Raid, Express, and Standoff. He then said, it's a reach because it can basically mean nothing, but it's how Tombstone returned and it acts like Who's Who. And yeah, I think they just combined Tombstone and Who's Who because how many tiers can you possibly give Tombstone that sound interesting? Well, they just combined Tombstone and Who's Who, and it worked. Not a big fan of the perk, but I get why they did that. He then said, undetermined, Mule Kick is possibly being saved for ZC2, similar to how it worked in Zombies Chronicles 1. And I'm not sure what he means by that, but hey, I mean, if they save Mule Kick for a year 2 or a future experience, then I'm cool with that. I'd rather have perk machines for Double Tap and PhD in DLC 3 and 4. But because of how popular Black Ops 2 is, it probably is the reason why they haven't looked at Black Ops 1 multiplayer DLC maps, which to me are god tier, and in my opinion, again, just my opinion, better than most Black Ops 2 maps, and on top of that, fit Black Ops Cold War better than maps like Raid, Standoff, Express, Hijacked. So because of the Black Ops 2 popularity, the Black Ops 2 nostalgia, I mean, because of all of that, that could make Activision say, you know what, let's bring in some zombies experiences from Black Ops 2 that might attract a lot of attention. They already did Mob of the Dead and Origins, let's do the Victis maps and see how they perform in the game. So that's another good point. I mean, yeah, it's a reach, like he said, but still worth bringing up. He also mentioned Fishing by the Docks can play some music directly from Buried, and that is correct, so take a listen. Now you can say the music from Buried does sound like a calming tune when you're fishing, sure. I mean, it's a fan favorite soundtrack. could it mean something more? I definitely found that suspicious when the Outbreak quest first dropped, Season 3 Reloaded. I'm like, wait a second, why is Victis music all over Outbreak? They already added in the other classic soundtracks in the radio Easter egg 2 months ago, but now they're adding in the Victis track, so again, it could mean nothing. I'm not saying it confirms the remakes, but it is a bit suspicious considering that Outbreak is kind of what Green Arrow was supposed to be. Could they be hinting at something in the future? Absolutely. He also mentioned on Golova there's an exact candy bowl model from Buried. I haven't seen it yet, and if you guys have seen this, put it in the comments down below exactly where it is on Golova. But again, it could just be a reuse asset. I'll put that as a stretch right now because maybe it's nothing. I mean, like I said earlier, there's a lot of assets all across different Call of Duty titles from different developers that get juggled across different studios. You know, workbenches, work boxes, fucking candy bowls. I mean, anything you could think of could easily be repurposed and reused in other Call of Duties. But looking at how literally all of Buried was remastered over in Blackout still blows my mind, because if nothing happens with that in the future, I'm like, damn, they did all of that work for Black Ops 4 and it just never came out to anything for zombies. But as a reminder too, with Call of Duty development and just game development in general, things could be very near completion if not release and still could get scrapped. People in this community have a very hard time understanding that when something doesn't come true, something gets changed, something gets scrapped. Remember the dinosaur theme park that was going to be in Verdansk? That never happened. I mean, there's so many things that sound great and there's a lot of proof of and just don't happen. That's just the way games work. I don't know why it's hard for people to understand that game development isn't easy and sometimes plans don't work out, but it doesn't mean that somebody's lying or making stuff up just because they talked about it in a video. You know what I mean? So now when it comes to a potential DLC 4 experience, once again, shout out to Vincent for that beautiful Reddit post, which I think really well rounds up all the information about potential Zombies Chronicles 2. But when it comes to a DLC 4, as we said in my previous video, if DLC 3 Berlin is supposed to be this end-all, say-all type of experience where it's a big overrun city, has a massive Easter egg, big story implications, how do you top that with a DLC 4? Where do you go next? I think the best bet is going into the DarkAether itself in a way we haven't seen before. Think of a Revelation style map where maybe it is a new environment overall, but we still get a glimpse of maybe Tranzit, Diaries, and Buried here and there, or even some closure for the Victis crew, whether they talk to us, whether they're dead, whether we get intel and ciphers to confirm their whereabouts. I definitely think a DLC 4 DarkAether map is the best place to get some answers about what's going on with Victis. They don't have to come back as operators, but even a mention of them to give us closure after tag would be great. And the fact that Craig is writing this story makes me think that he does have plans for them somehow. He confirmed in a blog post many months ago, I think when Firebase was getting announced, that he doesn't want to bring back characters the same way that he had them from World at War to Black Ops 4. But for characters like Samantha and presumably Eddie, we'll know more about what's going on with them in future seasons. But yeah, the fact that Craig's writing this definitely means that he knows exactly what he's doing with Victis, right? Whether he abandons them completely or brings them back somehow in a map at some point. Now, maybe they are a part of Orda, maybe they've, you know, combined into creatures, they're evil. I mean, who knows what they are? We can speculate about that all day, but one thing that is important to know is that if we get a DarkAether type Revelations map, would it have other remakes inside of it, where at some point we're like, hey, why not just rip some of those remakes that were in the DarkAether map and make them standalone survival maps, either for Onslaught or just for round-based? That could happen. We'll talk more about that in a minute, but I personally don't think we're going to get more zombies maps in a supposed year 2 if Treyarch is helping Sledgehammer with Call of Duty 2021. The best of both worlds would be Treyarch dropping remakes in Cold War as a bit of filler content during a supposed year 2 while still helping Sledgehammer out with their zombies mode. And to remind you guys, that rumor might not be true at all. I mean, maybe Treyarch isn't helping Sledgehammer, or maybe they are right now but might not be in a few months. I mean, plans could change in a matter of seconds. And with that being said, I'm like, Activision might pretend Treyarch isn't actually helping Sledgehammer out with Call of Duty 2021 Zombies. They might just brush it under the rug a little bit in terms of the publicity, but maybe Treyarch is helping Sledgehammer, and that's why they won't be able to provide a year 2. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen in the next year. And I definitely think something that could serve as filler content for a supposed year 2 in Black Ops Cold War could be seeing areas like Nacht and Toten, or even the bunker from the Outbreak main quest, added as round-based experiences, or even maps for Onslaught. That could work. I mean, what if a super Easter egg reward in Black Ops Cold War is just seeing those small sections being added in as standalone maps? I would love to see that, right? Grossed in house level, and that could definitely help people out with the supposed argument there isn't enough zombies content in the game. I get it, for round-based maps you could be a bit frustrated, but if you have a PlayStation, Onslaught is literally round-based experiences on all the multiplayer maps. You can argue it's reused content, but it's exactly what the community was asking for since Black Ops 2. Bring in non-Easter egg level round-based maps that you can just play for fun, do camel challenges on. We have that in-game right now, so let's expand on that and add in Nacht and Toten, or even the bunker or other areas you see in the future. That's how they can also tie in the Victis maps maybe, right? What if they're featured in a DLC 4 Revelations type map? People out there are like, hey, let's see them individually in game 2 for Onslaught, or for round-based, they get in Transit, Diaries, and Buried, or sections from them just with no Easter eggs, right? Survival only. They could definitely do that at some point. Now, back to our wonderful point about the Wonder Fizz, no pun intended, we have 3 upcoming perks: Double Tap, PhD, and Mule Kick. So, from my perspective on this right now, we're going to end up seeing Double Tap on Berlin, the machine and everything, then PhD, very likely on DLC 4 DarkAether map. PhD sounds like a perk that we're going to see to kind of close off the season, since it would make you very overpowered, so save the best for last, right? But what about Mule Kick? Where does that come in? There's only 2 more round-based maps left for zombies, then how do you add in 3 more perks? Could we see 2 new machines added on Berlin, Double Tap and Mule Kick? Or do you see Mule Kick added in just to the Wonder Fizz with no perk machine on any of the maps? Sure, but what if there is an experience after DLC 4 that's not a round-based map, but instead a bit of an expansion to Outbreak? Totally a possibility. So Treyarch could pull a Billy Mays and say, but wait, there's more, and bring out an Outbreak experience just for Green Run in a separate playlist, completely separate from the Outbreak we have right now, with the regions, the warping. I mean, we're still going to see Zoo and Weather Station added into Outbreak, probably in Seasons 4 and 5. Who knows what we're going to get in Season 6. Season 6 will be the opportunity to see a Green Run Outbreak experience. And we saw there is leaked gameplay online already of Crossroads Outbreak, so could that be something for the second Outbreak quest, or could that be added in as a new region in the future? Is that tied with Weather Station? You never know, but the thing with Outbreak Green Run is that if Tranzit was supposed to be this open world experience, but Treyarch was held back by hardware limitations, time constraints, now is the time they could pull that off. Treyarch already confirmed in a blog post about 2 weeks ago that Cold War was their first opportunity to do something like Outbreak. So that almost sounds like, hey, if Tranzit was supposed to be an open world experience, Cold War would theoretically be their first opportunity to finally make that happen. In terms of what the Tranzit in Black Ops 4 was going to be like, it was likely just a remake of the same map we had back in the day, but this time it could be something much bigger than that, where the bus takes you from location to location with a potential bus route B, but there are serious objectives you could do in each one of those locations instead of a, 3-4 step Easter egg. That's what I like to see. And there was also a very infamous source during the Black Ops 4 season, even during Modern Warfare, who was leaking quite a bit about Modern Warfare, Warzone, and other content to some content creators in the community, and he went ahead and said, and I quote, "It's Transit, but ... you'll have to wait and see." So when he said that, that was still inferring that a Transit remake was going to happen in Black Ops 4, or it will be moved to Call of Duty 2020. He had very specifically claimed that the map was still happening, he just wasn't sure what game it was releasing in because plans kept changing. So when he says that, that now fits perfectly with what Outbreak is. It would be Transit, but ... not a round-based map with a 3-4 step Easter egg, but an Outbreak experience with major and multiple objectives in the entire experience at once, right? That would work, and I think seeing an expansion to Outbreak like that would even draw more players into the mode who may not like playing zombies on the fire team maps. Even though I already said in our previous video, it doesn't feel like you're playing zombies on multiplayer maps, especially when doing the Outbreak main quest. There is so much beauty and wonder and atmosphere to explore with the quest, the bunker, the steps, the boss fight. That who the hell is thinking about multiplayer when they're doing that, right? Now that I'm very busy with Black Ops Cold War, I'm okay talking about this topic, every once in a while on the podcast or in a video, but now that we have new information, I'm okay comfortably talking about the possibility of seeing this. But when people out there are claiming that you need the remakes in Black Ops Cold War to make it a good game, it blows my mind, because if the remakes happen, they happen. I'm not going to pretend like a remake is somehow going to change my opinion of a game I probably don't like, which is what I see people doing all the time in the community, right? I see people who voice their harsh opinions on Die Machina, Firebase, Outbreak, but then say we need Berlin and a new perk, and I promise you, that won't be enough to convince you that you like the game. Stop pretending you do, because you very likely don't. That's my take on things. Now, it would have been a slightly more definitive ending for Aether in Black Ops 4 if the only 3 maps that never got remastered finally got their chance to be in that game. That's the way I look at it, and that's why I was passionate about seeing those last 3 maps remade in Black Ops 4. Why not do it? Icing on the cake. You already brought back Mob of the Dead 5, Nuketown, Call of the Dead. Why not add in the Victis maps, which realistically would have made sense since you had the Victis cast in Black Ops 4. So that's my last take on that, but I'm happy with the direction of Black Ops Cold War so far. With the rough circumstances of COVID, I'm still blown away that Treyarch has managed to pull off what I consider one of their most energetic experience in many years. But leave all your thoughts on this down below in the comment section. This has been dkdynamite. What are your thoughts on all of the compiled evidence for a supposed Zombies Chronicles 2 in Black Ops Cold War? How do you feel about the juicy surprises with the zombie storyline, Thor's hammer, Atlantis, and even the new Max's bundle which went live earlier today? I really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out everyone.